Roll. And action.
My name is Riar Rizaldi. I work as an artist and filmmaker. I am currently based in Yogyakarta in Indonesia. So it's such a pleasure for me to finally, after all of these years, to show my work as a solo exhibition in here in Indonesia. And then it's this time it's also travel. So it's not only in one city in Indonesia, but in three cities. And now finally I kind of like stop the travel here in Bali. So this is like my final destinations for the solo exhibition. Monisme as a idea before I made the future films was already designed, or maybe I think about this in 2016, even earlier, because I was at the time I was moving to Jogja, and in Jogja I was very much particularly interested in the people who are living in around the Merapi and how they understand Merapi. And then eventually I met like a volcanologist, I met the mystical people who believe that Merapi is God, and also the sand miners. And eventually the project now expand not only as feature films, but because I did the whole research, and the research itself is like take me, I don't know, 6 and 7 years. So I kind of like gather and collect so many materials and archives, and now I try to disseminate this archive and materials into an exhibition, into like a kind of like an independent autonomous project. So when I was researching and also like visiting Mount Merapi on and off, kind of like frequently, from the period 2016 until 2023, I started to kind of look into these relations of different worldviews that people that, connected to the Mount Merapi, the volcano itself. And I started to realize that actually for many of these people that human or like the humanity in itself, they're not necessarily the center of the universe. So Merapi, it becomes some sort of the center of that. So I started to kind of like interested in this idea when actually, when you think about it, like we are come to this like age of ecological disaster, but at the same time, many people don't really realize that actually this whole thing is also because human takes over nature, and takes over in the context of like mastering nature. So when I was like researching there and then meeting a lot of people actually started to think, or like their connection is much more like less than a master, but it's in a equal in equal level with nature, so-called also the volcano, the Mount Merapi. But also volcano itself is unpredictable. Like human maybe have science to kind of like predict when this volcano will erupt, but it's always failed to actually understand fully what the volcano's activity is. And that's actually brings me to these questions that actually maybe human is not the center of all of this, cosmology of a volcano. It's the volcano that is center. So that comes up as a main idea of this whole project. And monismo itself, it means like everything is one. So there's no center, because everything is the center. Everything is one entity.